He scores!
And this.
Oh, boy, what a move by Embiid!
You think of us. We are sports. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. NBA Conference Finals tonight. You have the Miami Heat versus the Boston Celtics tonight. Tomorrow night, the Mavs versus the Warriors. You can hear all the action right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Phillies back in action, get a day off. Wacky lineup. I'll get into that a little bit later as well in the show. Plus, we will get you ready for the PGA Championship this weekend, which you can hear some of the coverage right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. We got Bob Harig from SI joining us today to get an early look at the tournament. And then on Thursday, we'll talk with DraftKings Reed Fowler about the tournament. So we got you covered on the golf and some of the information you need to know right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. As always, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, which is free thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. I want to start with the Phillies because, you know, I was watching a couple of different things this morning, and I noticed that every time people talk about the Phillies nationally, it's about Bryce Harper. Whenever we talk about the Phillies locally, it's about the bullpen and the manager. And I'm not saying that either topic is wrong, but I do think it's interesting that in a sports area like we are in, you know, Philadelphia is about like 45 minutes away from where I'm sitting right now in the studio. And New York City is about, you know, maybe 3.5 hours away from where I'm sitting right now. This is a area of the country that's a lot of diehard fans. You know, whether you're a Phillies fan or a Mets fan, or maybe you're the random Yankees fan, or if you're a Eagles fan or a Giants fan or a Jets fan, or, you know, whatever team regionally you identify with, I tend to think that the majority of the time, you're always going to be critical of your team. It comes with the territory, right? You know, everybody wants what they want from their team. But I got to tell you, I'm starting to wonder if Bryce Harper is underappreciated. He won Player of the Week while playing through an injured UCL in his elbow. He went and got this special treatment where they take out the blood and the plasma from his body. They put it through this generator, swirl it around, and inject it back in to help accelerate the healing process. He's out of the lineup tonight. He's expected to be back in the lineup the next day or two. But this guy was blasting home runs with a jacked up elbow. The Phillies won 5 out of 7 games on this road trip, in large part because of Bryce Harper. And they could have swept the Dodgers, but Bryce Harper wasn't available. And, you know, in a city of Philadelphia that loves their Eagles, that is a polarizing Sixers topic, I don't think we give Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper may be, if not the best, one of the best athletes in the city of Philadelphia. You already know that he's arguably a top 10 player in Major League Baseball year in and year out. He's the reigning league MVP. Joel Embiid came in second in the MVP. Outside of those two guys, who's better than them? Why don't we take enough time to appreciate what's in front of us? Seriously. You look at organizations like the Reds, organizations like the Pirates, they're an embarrassment. And their best players are guys that are either too old or nobody wants. The Phillies went through a period in the aftermath of the Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins run, where, who was your best player? Aaron Nola? Who was your second best player? Jake Arrieta? I guess. It's amazing to me that you get handed something and you complain the bag of money is too heavy. Hey, here's $1 million. Bag's too heavy. Look, I'm not saying we shouldn't be critical of the Phillies bullpen because they've blown some games, okay? For sure. They're not as bad as they were last year, but they're not that bad. Blame the manager. That's fine. The manager hasn't done a great job. You want to blame James Harden for how poorly he played. I'm on board with that. I'm not with Pat Beverly giving him a supermax contract. I don't care how intense and how serious Beverly is. I think Beverly is setting him. He's planting his flag in the wrong piece of dirt over there with that position. But, you look what's going on with the PGA Championship. Tiger Woods is going to be out there. No Phil Mickelson. Right? You have in the NBA Conference Finals, you have Luka, you have Steph Curry, you have Jimmy Butler, you have Jason Tatum. So often we forget to appreciate who you have already. The grass is not always greener on the other side of the fence. If Sixer fans would love to go back in time and make sure they landed Jason Tatum and not Markelle Fultz, but they forget the fact that the Celtics were going to take Tatum no matter what. Remember, when you traded with the Celtics, you traded up to number 1 to get Fultz. Colangelo got ripped off by Danny Ainge in that trade. Danny Ainge took Colangelo to the woodshed and whooped him in that trade. They were taking Tatum no matter what. So this idea that you could have had Tatum is a little misguided, to say the least. But you got Joel Embiid. You got Bryce Harper. If you're a New York sports fan, you think the Knicks wouldn't love to have Joel Embiid? He's better than anybody on their team. You don't think that most teams would love to have Bryce Harper? The Yankees have a bunch of sluggers already, so I don't know if they would really need Bryce Harper. But the Mets wouldn't mind having him for sure. Steve Cohen can afford it. That guy spends money on everything. I'm just putting it out there. One of the reasons why I'm excited for the NBA playoffs tonight, which you can hear right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. I want to see how the Miami Heat handle the Boston Celtics defense. I want to see how the Celtics match up with a Heat team that will be without Kyle Lowry tonight. By the way, the Celtics news just came out on SportsCenter. No Al Horford tonight. So no Horford for Celtics. No Kyle Lowry for the Heat. So you take out two of the primary veterans in this series, two of the more experienced guys. We're going to find out a lot about both of these teams tonight. I'm looking forward to that, and I appreciate that. I just think sometimes in sports, we don't appreciate what we got. That's all I'm saying. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Bob Harig from Sports Illustrated, which is coming up at 6:40 tonight. So we'll take your thoughts and comments between now and 6:40 tonight, basically. So you guys get the next, basically 30 minutes to join the conversation. I'll get to show me your text in just a bit. Couple points of reference here. I think the Miami Heat are going to win this series. I said that yesterday. I think that tonight's game is going to be a pivotal game, though, because I think tonight you're going to find out, without Al Horford was a big part of their win in the last series. If Tatum and Brown don't have a good shooting night, can the other guys fill the void? We're going to find out tonight. By the way, same on the other side of the court. If Jimmy Butler gets locked down tonight, what if Boston comes in there, guns a-blazing defensively, and lock him down? Does the Miami Heat have the firepower necessary to make it a game still? I haven't seen the Heat win a game in the postseason in the last 3 years without Jimmy Butler playing at a high level. You go back to that NBA Finals series in the bubble, and you forget that when Jimmy Butler had big games, the Miami Heat either won those games or they were right in it. But the game that Jimmy Butler didn't play well in, it was ugly. And I understand some people out there say, well, the Miami Heat team this year is better than the team that lost to the Lakers in the NBA Finals in the bubble. But it doesn't change the fact that this organization has practically been the same every year in the postseason since then. When Jimmy Butler's got a good game, the Miami Heat are good. When he doesn't have a good game, they either get lucky or they lose outright or badly. The one game in that finals, Jimmy Butler had 40 points. He had a triple-double that night. The other game that they won, the Miami Heat in that bubble series, Jimmy had 35 and another triple-double. The dude has 2 triple-doubles, his team wins a game in the NBA Finals. So if I'm Boston, my goal is to get Butler out of the game and force them to go in a different direction. I don't know if Miami is ready for that. See, that's the key. By the way, Marcus Smart is also out of the game tonight. So Smart, the foot sprain apparently is worse than he was hoping. I know that Smart was saying that he was going to try to play as long as, he didn't have pain, right? But Al Horford is in the health and safety protocols. So no Smart, no Horford. That changes part of the conversation. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Boston can't win this game tonight, but it's looking a little grim because Smart is a huge part of that perimeter defense. Now, if Tatum and Brown step up defensively, right? If, they can go out there and say, look, we are going to take the Jimmy Butler challenge on ourselves. This could be a very close game in the fourth quarter tonight. But it's going to come down to Tatum and Brown doing the job. I'm not trying to speak ill of either player. I like both guys. I think they're both incredibly talented. But, man, Tatum's had some interesting games this postseason. He's had games where he has been lights out as a shooter. In other games, he's been ice cold. There have been games that Brown feels like he disappeared for a quarter or two in this postseason. And they've been picked up by Marcus Smart, by Al Horford. That game 7, Grant Williams hit all those 3-pointers. Does Boston run away with that game? I don't think so. I think it's a very close game in the fourth quarter. So I'm excited for this game tonight. Tomorrow night, to me, it comes down to what do you value more? Do you value Luka Doncic as a superstar, or do you value the Warriors' experience? Those are two very, very different things. So, a lot to digest here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. We'll get to the text board on the other side. I see messages from Joey D in Ventnor, as well as Mark in Ventnor. We'll get to you guys your messages and more of you guys on the other side. And again, Bob Harig from SI will join us coming up at 6:40 tonight. Who should be the favorite in the 2020 PGA Championship? You got a pairing of amazing proportions of Woods and Spieth, and it's like, but are any of those guys actually the favorite to win the tournament? Should they be the favorite? We'll get into all that still to come here on 97.3 ESPN FM. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night.
The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Now Butler nearly lost the ball, gets it back, spins, shoots, and hits.
The Eastern Conference Finals come down to the top 2 seeds. The top-ranked Miami Heat welcome the second-seeded Boston Celtics.
Tatum, wing left three. Another one.
It's a best-of-7 with a trip to the NBA Finals on the line. Game 1 of the Heat and Celtics. Coverage begins tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Listen to the NBA playoffs exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you.
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say.
If it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
You can't be all work and not play.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker upper.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his 4th. But you know what they say, 4th time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Hey, is this line secure?
Franco's cybersecurity firm secured a contract, and that's all we're allowed to say.
We have a green light on hiring.
He needs web security professionals with a military background.
3 teams of 4, 24-hour rotations, but Protocol Zulu is on a need-to-know basis.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard, so you can stay organized and connected all the way to the hire. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Chances are you're jamming in your car right now. And since Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so you only pay for what you need, Limu and I are going to show you some safe car dance moves. Hit it. Everybody, check your blind spots real quick. Now hands on the wheel. Put them 10 in 2 and move your head like a bird do. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Welcome to Total Wine and More. I'm firing up the grill for burgers and want to impress the neighbors. You'll love this Cabernet with your burgers. Wow, great price. Find what you love what you find. At Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
What dealer wants to approve you if you clear $350 per week?
Who is Matt Blatt Kia?
What dealer will pay off your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth?
Who is Matt Blatt Kia?
Correct. Do you have a job at Clear $350 per week? At Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township, you're virtually approved. Plus, we're overloaded with trades, even one-owner trades, many with factory warranty. And they must go to make room for new Kias arriving daily. Just because you don't see your new Kia on the lot doesn't mean you can't be driving it home tomorrow. So bring any trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires
6/5/2022.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
6:20 here on a Tuesday night. Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. I am Josh Hennig at Josh Hennig on Twitter. You give me a follow there. Coming up in about 20 minutes from now, we will talk with Bob Harig. Bob covers golf world over at Sports Illustrated and SI.com. He's author of the new book, Tiger and Phil, which I've been reading through myself. Tiger and Phil Golf's most fascinating rivalry. We get his perspective on the PGA Championship. Tiger is there, no Phil. People are not happy, shall I say, that Phil is not there. Different degrees of not happy. Some people are saying it's sad. Some people say it's disappointing. Some people pointing the finger saying, hey, Phil could have been here. He chose not to be here. So a lot of stuff there to digest. We'll do that with Bob Harig coming up at 6:40 tonight. As promised, I want to get to your guys' thoughts and comments. You can join the conversation. We're talking the NBA playoffs conference final starts tonight. Heat versus Celtics game 1 tonight. You hear on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Warriors versus Mavs game 1. Also, the PGA Championship is this weekend. Philly's back in action tonight. I believe their first pitch is in about 25 minutes, actually. This whole 6:45 thing throws me off so bad when it comes to these baseball time starts. So we got a lot to cover here. We'll do it all here as much as we can on 97.3 ESPN. Get to some of you guys' messages that came in here a little bit earlier in the show. Mark from Ventnor chimes in. Now, I will preface this by saying Mark this is a Celtics fan, okay? This is not an individual who's objective. So when I read this text, remember that I am the objective person on the microphone. The person's message I am reading does not reflect the views of the management staff of this radio station. All right? Mark from Ventnor says, you clearly, Josh, didn't watch that series if you think the Celtics just got by the Bucks, because the Celtics, now this is his interpretation of what happened. Celtics won by 23 in game 2, lost by 3 in game 3, won by 8 in game 4, game 5 with a choke job, game 6 won by 13, game 7 won by 38. He goes on to say, getting by is the free throw merchant Embiid, who will get his number retired while never getting out of the second round. Sixers poverty is great content. That's from Mark over in Ventnor. All right, a couple of things. First of all, Celtics fan, let's talk about the full series. You conveniently didn't mention game 1 when the Bucks won 101-89. The game 2 was arguably Jaylen Brown's best game of the postseason. The game 3 win by the Bucks was very close, but that was also a choke job because the Celtics did have a lead in that game. Milwaukee came back and won. Game 4, the Celtics won a game that Giannis had a monster game and none of his teammates really showed up to support him in that game. Celtics won. Game 5, Bucks won. You called it choke job, whatever. A win's a win, okay? Listen, Dominic Toretto said whether you win by an inch or a mile, winning's winning, okay? Nobody's going to care 20 years from now that was a choke job. A loss is a loss. Game 6, Celtics won. But they didn't just win the last 2 games because they won game 6, they won game 7. The Celtics shot out of their mind from 3. The Bucks had one of the worst shooting performances in NBA history in game 7. Meanwhile, the Celtics shot almost 40% from three-point range in game 6. And then Grant Williams went out of his mind, and him combined with Peyton Pritchard helped lead a Celtics team that also shot 40% from 3 that night. So you can spin it however you want. But the Celtics role players showed up big time in the last 2 games, and the Bucks guys didn't, and the Bucks were playing without their second best player in Middleton, who is a bona fide all-star on almost every team in this league. Okay? Look, you can say whatever you want about the Celtics. You're a fan. You're allowed to. Okay? Embiid has not gotten out of the second round for reasons that are not always his fault. Okay? If you want to be one of these people who says that a guy doesn't win a championship is a bum, you can ride that train. Not me. You want to go tell Charles Barkley to his face that he's a loser? Go ahead. All right? You want to tell Dominique Wilkins that he's a bum to his face? Go ahead. I'm not doing that on a microphone. I'm not doing that on a text. I'm not doing that on Twitter. I'm not doing that in any forum. These guys are the best of the best in the world. They do things that we can never imagine doing with our lives. Joel Embiid played this series with a broken orbital bone and a torn thumb. There are some people listening to the sound of my voice that if they had a broken orbital bone in their face and a torn thumb would be at home popping pain pills, calling out of work as much as they can, or trying to collect workman's comp. Joel Embiid showed up to play basketball, a sport where you needed to shoot with the hand he has a torn thumb on, and a face that got whacked even with the mask on. If you're telling me that the Sixers have not gotten out of the second round because of Joel Embiid, then you're just a biased fan. Boston has not won a championship with Tatum and Brown yet. Until their careers are done. And you could sit there 20 years from now and say, during this era of basketball, Tatum and Brown got the job done, and Embiid didn't get the job done. We could have that conversation. The last time I checked, getting free throws is a part of the game of basketball. You know, we don't criticize Jordan or Wilt or Kareem for all of their points scored because they shot a lot of free throws. So I'm not going to say the same thing about Embiid either. Look, you want to pick and choose stats, that's fine. I'm the objective person here. You're the fan. Listen, if you think the Celtics are going to win the series, good for you. You think the Celtics are going to have more success long-term than Joel Embiid? Who knows? Maybe. But I think that if you're going to blame the Sixers' lack of success just on Embiid, I think that it's a narrow-minded concept. And I think that if you purposely send me a text to tell me about the series and you left out game one, which is a clear win for the Bucks, and you ignore the fact that the Celtics hit a ton of threes and the Bucks miss a ton of threes in a league that's a make or miss league, congratulations, Celtics fan. You see life through green colored glasses. I don't live my life like that. Listen, I love fans. I run into fans all the time. But the majority of the time I run into fans, whether I'm at a local drinking establishment or at a brewery or at a distillery or at the gym or wherever I may be. When I run into people, they're usually pretty reasonable people. No matter what fan of a team they are of. You know, I ran into a Dodgers fan a couple months ago. And, you know, he had some interesting opinions. But, you know, we walked out of there and he realized, you know what? You're being objective. I'm a fan. It's cool, man. I appreciate it. You know, it doesn't mean that, you know, anything bad was said, but listen, I just can't sit here and be a biased individual behind this microphone. I got to be objective. Hat tip to Joey D. in Ventnor. Wishing me a happy birthday on the text board. How about that? Joey D, thank you. I appreciate you reaching out through the text board. Joey D says, time out from sports. If you could be any superhero from Marvel, who would it be and why? I mean, that's easy. Wolverine. If anybody read a comic series with Wolverine in it, the dude's probably the baddest man on the planet. And he's got a super healing factor. You know how awesome it would be to not walk around in pain like I do every day? Just give me the super healing factor. I don't even need the adamantium claws or all the other stuff that comes with it. But Joey D, thank you for wishing me happy birthday on the text board. You guys can join the conversation as well. Text board is open at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. By the way, Phillies open their series tonight with the Padres. Then they play the Dodgers again. The biggest thing I'm looking forward to in this Phillies series is I want to find out, can they carry the success from the road trip back home? You won 5 out of 7 games on this road trip. Can you take that success and parlay it at home? Now, you got Zach Eflin returning to the mound tonight. How does he look with all the time off, right? How many innings does he pitch? Does he have a short leash because he hasn't pitched in a while and he wasn't able to go out there and get as many reps? We're going to find out. You got Zach Wheeler on Wednesday. Kyle Gibson got roughed up by the Dodgers. The Phillies still won the game. Thursday afternoon game. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the Dodgers. Suarez, Nola, Eflin again. Now, right now, the Dodgers have Urias scheduled for Friday, Gonsolin scheduled for Sunday, TBD for Saturday. I'm curious to find out, with Kershaw out, how do the Dodgers reshuffle their rotation? Because, when they were in Los Angeles, they moved Walker Buehler back a day, and then they reshuffled the rotation after that Saturday and Sunday. Didn't work out for them because Buehler gave up all those runs, put the Phillies in position to be able to win the game. I'm wondering, how do they handle it this time around? Do they go bullpen by committee? Do the Dodgers have it feels like they have like 20 young studs in the minor leagues they can call up and pitch at any given time. It's ridiculous. But for the Phillies, I wanted to find out, can they carry that momentum? Baseball is a day-to-day sport in so many ways, and momentum is not built over just day-to-day and week to. It's built inning to inning sometimes. You can carry, you could be on a losing streak, but you could have an inning that propels you and changes your confidence level. So I want to know, can they have a successful homestand against these two West Coast teams, the Padres and seeing the Dodgers for the second time? Because after that, the schedule does not get any easier. They travel to Atlanta, then to the New York Mets, back home against the Giants, and then after that, they play one of the most fun teams in baseball to watch, Mike Trout's Angels. Then after that, they travel on the road to Milwaukee. That is a stretch from now until the first several days of June that you're basically playing some of the best teams in baseball. So we are going to find out a lot about this Phillies team coming up. By the way, I mentioned the lineup tonight. I got to tell you guys, I don't even know who to blame anymore. If it's true that Girardi is not making every decision himself and he's getting someone in his ear telling him who he, what he should or shouldn't do, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this lineup at all. Okay. Hoskins 1, Bohm 2, Schwarber 3, Castellanos 4, Segura 5, Herrera 6, Romuto 7, Stott 8, Quinn 9. You basically have all your power bats in the first 4 guys. And then all the guys who are known to have any ability to get on base are later in the lineup. I mean, I know that Romuto is only batting .243, but I feel like he's a better contact hitter than Hoskins is at this point. Hoskins is batting .236. Hoskins is, I don't understand. Every time Hoskins hits well, they move him in the lineup. Like, can this team get like a stable lineup at some point? It's just too much for me. I'm not a fan of Hoskins leading the game off. I want someone, like Schwarber, I understood because Schwarber's a guy who works the count. The problem is Schwarber is not having a good batting average this year. He's more of a slugger this year with 9 home runs and 21 RBI. I get it. Pop him down further in the lineup. Realmuto, not a great batting average either, but I feel like the best contact guys on this team right now are Segura and Realmuto. And I don't understand why they don't put either of those guys at the top of the lineup. Hoskins is a power hitter. Schwarber's a power hitter. Bohm, I don't want to put Bohm under that pressure. I mean, the young man is finally coming around and playing better. Why do I need to put the pressure of him being the top of the lineup? Let alone the 2-hole. I'm not a fan of these lineups. If it truly is Girardi making these decisions, I don't know if he's the manager for this team next year. But if it's an analytics guy telling the manager what to do, I blame the organization as a whole. Because the number of lineup changes we have seen this year alone has been just utterly ridiculous. They have no stability with their lineup. It's like playing roulette every night. It's like, flipping a coin. All right, who's going to be the leadoff hitter tonight? Close your eyes, flip the coin, and find out. Like, I'm a big believer in stability. I'm a big believer in that everyone needs stability in their job. They need it in their life. Changing your responsibility every night's got to be taxing on these guys mentally, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but I'm not a fan. All right, we're going to get into the PGA Championship on the other side. Josh Hennig here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Bob Harig from Sports Illustrated joins me next.
The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Shoots for three and hits again. Luka Doncic.
It's game one of the Western Conference Finals. Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavs are off to San Francisco to go head-to-head with Steph, Clay, and the Golden State Warriors.
Launches for three and hits, and that's where the Warriors kill you.
Game one of the Warriors and Mavs. Coverage begins tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Listen to the NBA playoffs exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.
What dealer wants to approve you if you clear $350 per week?
Who is Matt Blatt Kia?
What dealer will pay off your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth?
Who is Matt Blatt Kia?
Correct. Do you have a job and clear $350 per week? At Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township, you're virtually approved. Plus, we're overloaded with trades, even one-owner trades, many with factory warranty, and they must go. To make room for new Kias arriving daily. Just because you don't see your new Kia on the lot doesn't mean you can't be driving it home tomorrow. So bring any trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires
6/5/2022.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Hustle up. We've got 8 more floors to go before lunch.
Sarusha's window washing business is reaching new heights.
Wipe, and let's roll.
They need more certified cleaners to keep online reviews crystal clear.
Team, I know we're hustling, but watch for streaks. Candace, can you give me a hand over here?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Progressive's Home Court Explorer lets you easily compare our direct rates with multiple companies. Now that we've covered something you could do, it's time for sports stuff you definitely could not do.
If you were head coach, you would not have gone for it on 4th down. Your confidence in your play calling ability might be a little overblown, considering you're barely confident in which restaurant to order takeout from, let alone choosing a play in front of 70,000 screaming fans.
But you definitely can use Progressive's Home Court Explorer to easily compare rates. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations.
Hey, y'all, this is your girl, Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
The people spoke and we delivered. Literally, the $10 tastemaker from Pizza Hut is our best delivery deal. Any 3 toppings, just $10. Get it delivered. No one out-pizzas the Hut. Not available in some locations. Exclusions apply. Delivery areas, charges, and minimums vary. Delivery charge, not a tip.
East Coast Roofing and Siding, protecting what you love and own. East Coast Roofing and Siding, trust us with your family and home.
Hey there, South Jersey. This is Sean Steitler with East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Do you have a home project you've been pushing off? Does your house need a facelift? If so, you need to take advantage of our Economic Relief Rebate Program. For a limited time, we are offering no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Plus, when the job is complete, we will send you a rebate check for up to 15% of the cost. No payments until 2023 and money back in your pocket? You can't beat this deal. Call us today to schedule your free consultation. 609-625-1900. That's 609-625-1900. You can also visit our website at eastcoastroofing.com for more information.
East Coast Roofing and Siding, trust us with your family and home.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
2022 PGA Championship is this weekend. We will have full final round coverage right here on 97.3 ESPN and other coverage throughout the week later this week. Tiger Woods is there. The defending champion, Phil Mickelson, is not. So joining us again is Bob Harig, author of the new book, Tiger and Phil, Golf's Most Fascinating Rivalry. Bob covers the world of golf for Sports Illustrated and SI.com, and I'm already 4 chapters into the book, and I love seeing a parallel story with 2 of the biggest. They're not just big golf stars. They're big sports icons. I think that most people who know sports know Phil Mickelson. And even if you're a casual sports fan, you know who Tiger Woods is. Well, Tiger is back at a major this week, and Phil is not. And to get more into that right now is Bob Harig from Sports Illustrated. Bob, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Josh. And since you're reading the book, you're going to get a quiz on it. I'll probably give you one question per chapter. So just when it's over with, just know that's coming.
All right. Well,
no cheating.
Well, here's the thing, Bob. So I'm an Audible guy. I listen to all my books on tape because I have long rides to and from work. So I can't cheat anyway because I don't have the paper in my hand. So
there you go. Absolutely. Very good.
So let's get to a couple of things here. First of all, I thought it was interesting what a lot of the guys were saying about Phil not being there. Some people described it disappointing. Some people said it was sad. I know Tiger was very vocal in his disagreement with Phil about the PGA Tour, but he still wished that Phil was there. The PGA guys, the people at the tournament reiterated, look, we wanted Phil here. He chose not to be here. So what is your perspective on all this? Because I think a lot of people, they have very similar sentiments who are not there right now. People, like me on the outside end, be like, we wanted Phil there. We wanted to see the defending champion.
Exactly. I mean, put the controversy aside. All right. Let's just put that off to the side for a second. Yes, very controversial. What's going on is very controversial. But the man won the PGA Championship at age 50 last year, became the oldest major champion in the game's history, broke a 53-year-old record, beat a couple of 30-something guys to do it, won his 6th major, which put him in some elite company along with Nick Faldo and Nick Price. There's just not that many guys who have won 6 majors or more, 45th PGA Tour win. And a year later, he's not only did he not play the Masters, he's not defending his title at the PGA, even though he could. And this is the story. It's just really remarkable. It's a shame, actually. Rory said that to you, Rory McIlroy. It's just sad. And even Tiger admitted, it's too bad that he's not here. He's popular. People want to see him. But yet we're in this predicament because of the no, frankly, what Phil said and what he did behind the scenes to sort of sabotage himself. And whether or not you agree with that, that's where we are.
Is anything that's happened with Phil redeemable? Like, if he really wanted to, could he go out there and fix any of this? Or do you feel like, Phil is, basically burned all the bridges and he's moving on with his life? Or what do you think is next here?
Well, I think he could fix it, but I don't think he will. Because to fix it, to me, requires him to go back to the PGA Tour, talk everything out privately, get any differences sorted out. And look, they're not going to all be sorted out to his favor, because some of the things that he's asked about are not doable, and others would take time. And he'd also have to completely turn his back, I think, on the Live Golf Invitational Series. The Saudi-backed league that Greg Norman is the commissioner of, that wanted to launch a league this year, and all indications were that Phil was on board and other players. And in the wake of all the Phil stuff, they had to retreat. They've had to pivot. Now they're only going to just play 8 events. They're not part of a league. You don't have to play them all. Phil asked for a release for the first one next month. If he plays in that event, how can he be forgiven by the PGA Tour? And whether you side with the tour or not, you can understand why they have an issue with this. They view Live Golf as a threat. They want to be a competing league, and their TV deals and their sponsorship deals are all contingent on them doing their best to get the best players there. They're not going to come to every tournament, but a smattering of them do every week. And if you have no chance of getting them, well, then if you're a title sponsor or a TV network, you're going to say, well, why are we paying you all this money? And then it trickles down from there. So it is a very, very complicated situation. And I don't know, it might be past the point of no return for Phil.
And I'll reference your book here, Tiger and Phil. Reading through the book, it feels like Phil was the guy that a lot of people wanted to be successful. That, Tiger was just like this shooting comet that for some people came out of nowhere. But Phil, he went through all the amateur tournaments. He went to, the Pac-12, and it was Pac-10 back then. Now it's Pac-12, and won, the Nationals, and did all these things, and he worked his way up the ladder. But then Tiger just passed him basically after starting later because he's younger. And it feels like Phil in the 90s was kind of looked at as like, part of the group, part of the club. And now all these years later, it's almost like he's how should I put it? He's almost like destroying all these years he's put into this.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, can you destroy it all? Can you destroy 30 years in 3 months? I think you described it well. I mean, Phil, I wrote it this way, I believe. Phil was Tiger before Tiger.
Right.
Way back in the day. Phil won everything as a kid. We know of Tiger's exploits. We've heard so much about it. He was on TV when he was 2 years old. I mean, Phil didn't have that, but Phil won just about everything in San Diego as a 8th grader and high school kid. And,
he was a prodigy.
He was, absolutely. And just like Tiger, his dad had a big influence. He was just more behind the scenes. And he kind of nurtured his son and got Phil started in the right direction. And Phil still holds the record for most American Junior Golf Association titles. He was highly recruited for colleges when he was like a freshman in high school. Obviously he ended up going to Arizona State. He won 3 NCAA titles. And the year he didn't win the NCAA title, he won a PGA Tour event, the last amateur to do so. Tiger never won on tour as an amateur, never came close. Tiger won 3 straight U.S. amateurs, which is an incredible accomplishment, but he didn't win a pro event as an amateur. And Phil did. I mean, Phil was amazing. Phil was hyped almost as much as Tiger was coming out. And, that's a great thing is they both, not only did they live up to it, they exceeded it. But as you said, Tiger just blew by Phil. Phil was off to a very good start as a pro. He had won 9 times before Tiger turned pro. But Tiger came on board. Tiger won a major his very first try. Then he started rattling them off, and Phil wasn't getting the majors. So, all of a sudden, Phil found himself behind. But yet, Phil never gave up. And I try to maintain that Phil's career is actually understated. It's undervalued because it's compared to Tiger. 45 tour wins and 6 majors is remarkable. Nobody else other than Tiger who's active today has anything close to that. So, it's an impressive career that he's had. I hate to see it tarnished by all that's gone on here in the last couple of months.
The book is Tiger and Phil. The author is Bob Harig, joining us right now here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN Golf's most fascinating rivalry, Tiger and Phil. Get it wherever you get your books sold, or you can do the Audible deal like I do and listen to it. Bob, the other part of this I think is interesting is not directly with Phil, but it's kind of related. A couple of weeks ago, Sergio had that outburst on the course. He's playing in the PGA Championship this weekend. What's the perception of Sergio right now after what happened a couple of weeks ago? He's playing. He might be leaving with Phil, but he's playing this weekend and Phil's not.
Yeah, listen, this is one thing about Phil that I think is unfair. There have been numerous other players that have explored this possibility of going to this other endeavor, whether it be signing these big contracts, whether it just be playing in a couple of their events now as it's changed to, and none of them has faced any kind of backlash like Phil has. And it's because Phil spoke and they didn't. Lee Westwood's now faced a little bit because he came out and explained why he wanted to do it or why he thought it was okay. Sergio, was caught in a moment of frustration, complaining about a rules official and basically, acting like he never gets the benefit of the doubt and the rules officials mess this stuff up. Well, come on, let's be honest. If you go play golf for the other people, don't you think there's going to be rules of golf and rules officials that you're going to have to deal with there too? I mean, they will be playing by the rules of golf, and they will have rules officials who will make rulings, and you might not like them. That's just part of it, So he kind of showed himself there a little bit, in frustration. And the thing is, he did get a poor ruling, but the guy wasn't doing it because he's out to get him. Just like in all sports, officials sometimes make errors.
Right.
And in that case, an error was made, not a totally egregious one, but it was just a misrepresentation of the situation that was very unfortunate. But obviously, Sergio's words were all caught there on camera, and that was very eye-opening.
Let's flip it over to Tiger before I let you go, Bob. I mean, we know the PGA did this on purpose. I mean, this is the superstar group Tiger starting out in. McIlroy, Woods, Spieth. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better threesome to start a tournament. It feels like the tournament's like, Phil doesn't want to be here. Fine, we're going to give you the threesome of all threesomes this year.
Yeah, it's really a great one. I mean, I'm a little surprised they did that because you could put Tiger with anybody and that people are going to watch that group. You could put Tiger with 2 club pros and all eyes are going to be on that group anyway. But it enhances it to have those guys as part of it. And obviously they're in the afternoon on Friday, for more of the afternoon primetime viewing. And Spieth is one of the pre-tournament favorites. So is Rory. It's a pretty nice gift for golf fans. That's for sure.
Bob, who should be the favorite or favorites this weekend at this major?
Well, I think Spieth is one of them, certainly. Playing really nicely right now, loves the course. He finished second last week by a shot and probably should have won. And a few weeks before that, in his last start, he won at Hilton Head. So, he's he's playing nicely, which never hurts. Coming in it's a good sign that he's playing well. The course conditions in Dallas are, well, that wasn't a difficult golf course. It's the same type of grasses and things, so that's not a huge adjustment this week. And I certainly like Rory too. I mean, he had that final round 64 at Augusta a few weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, he had a decent tournament there at the Wells Fargo. He was in the top 10. So I think he's playing nicely. But it's the PGA has a very deep field. There's a lot of guys who can win. I mean, Scottie Scheffler won the Masters. He's won 4 times this year. Why can't he do it again? John Rahm just won recently. Patrick Cantley and Xander Schauffele shared a tournament title at a team event. Max Homa, who's probably not in the upper tier, but he just won 2 weeks ago. His odds are higher, but he's a guy who's got a lot of confidence. It just it goes on and on. There's a lot of parity in golf right now. A lot of guys can win. It's why we see a guy like Justin Thomas hasn't won in a while. Dustin Johnson hasn't won in a while, but I don't think any of us would be surprised if they won this week.
Give him a follow on Twitter at Bob Harig. Catch his new book, Tiger and Phil. It's a great read so far. I'm about 4 chapters in. Golf's most fascinating rivalry, Tiger and Phil by Bob Harig. Catch all of his golf coverage over at SI.com. Bob, appreciate you jumping on. Enjoy the tournament this weekend.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a great night.
Josh Hennig here, wrapping up game night here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Yes, we will have coverage of the full final round on Sunday here on 97.3 ESPN FM. And then we will have some other coverage as well later this week. I'll be talking with Reed Fowler from DraftKings on Thursday. I know Mike Gill is going to have Cam Rogers from the Believe Podcasting Network on as well this week. So we got your golf covered here as well on 97.3 ESPN FM. No Phil, but Tiger is in the field. And sounds like Tiger's, the confidence is there. Will it translate on the course? We're going to find out. All right, tonight, Heat versus Celtics. Harig begins at 8 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN FM. Al Horford, Marcus Smart, both ruled out for the Celtics tonight. No Kyle Lowry for the Heat. Tip-off around 8:30 tonight.